Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Florida's #1 hockey podcast, The Cats and Bolts. 3, 2, 1.
There we go. We had to get a look at him, the best looking producer of the Cats and Bolts podcast, along with Eric. I don't know how to say that. Welcome everybody to a very special edition of the Cats and Bolts podcast, as producer Ben Castro just said. Florida's #1 most watched hockey show. Rod Peterson here, Brent Waltman there. We're coming to you from Podcast Junkie Studios in downtown Boca Raton, Florida, brought to you by Unbridled Weddings and Events. If you're getting married in South Florida, relax and let Bree handle all the details, or holding an event. Do you want to handle that?
No, I'm good. You go.
Okay, or if you're hosting an event. Voted named top 10 in the USA wedding planners and event planners. That's Bree at Unbridled Weddings and Events. And, of course, iTixNow.com, the #1 ticket selling marketplace for Florida Panthers fans. Okay. I have the Bob jersey up. It's a tense time around here, Brent. Can we go to the wide shot of both? I'm sorry, Eric. I just want to say, I want to get your look on your face. All the live viewers streaming on YouTube and around the world. The Sergei Bobrovsky situation has gotten serious as we approach Friday's NHL trade deadline. And is Sergei Bobrovsky going to be a Florida Panther past Friday, Brent Waltman?
Yes.
You heard it here first. That was easy. Because I'm having my doubts. Okay?
I can understand your doubts, but I was thinking about this a lot. And as I've heard all the rumblings throughout the week, I mean, I just cannot see Bob leaving with the core group that's coming back with this team and the success that he's had. So I'm going with he will be here Saturday morning. Okay,
well, as I say, this episode more than ever, do I want live viewer participation? I want to know what the Panthers fans are saying about this. Let's walk this back a little bit. 3 weeks ago, we started talking about this on this?
There was rumblings, yeah, because obviously Bobby's a free agent, and you know, he's obviously shown that he is a playoff guy, so he could be a rental.
Well, part of the reason I brought this up was, I've been around this for decades. If I was thinking about it and it came on my radar 3 weeks ago, it's probably on Bill Rizito's radar 5, 6, 7 weeks ago, right? Because he's that sharp and forward thinking.
Yeah, definitely whispers, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, so that's the deal. But here's the latest. I'm trying not to get too worked up here. But it's a delicate situation. You've been out of town all week. You want to tell the viewers where you've been hanging out with the White House?
I was hanging out in Washington, D.C. Happy to be back. Saw it snow for the first time in a long time.
Ew.
Yeah, definitely ew. I got back this morning, and I've been sweating ever since.
Reiterating why we live here. But I'm listening to WQAM. I've heard more Panthers talk on the radio around here than I ever have as long as I've been here, and it's 5 years now. And the one thing, I don't think these guys know any more than I do or you do or anybody. But the situation, why this is starting to become a thing is that Elliot Friedman, and I only trust a few insiders, but he's one that I do from Sportsnet in Canada, and he said that it's become a challenge, his term, for Bill Zito to re-sign Sergei Bobrovsky. And it's money. And the guys on the radio, they're just throwing out a figure. Okay, they said $5 million. Bob's currently making $10 million. He's made $10 million a year for the last 7 years. Would you like to take a 50% pay cut, Brent? I don't think you would.
I don't think that'll happen. I think that it'll get worked out some way, somehow. But I went through this whole thing, and with the trade line looming, I just walked through it. And, you know, look, the Panthers ran into a brick wall from a health standpoint. And if I'm sitting in the GM chair, I'm looking at it going, this whole entire team is basically coming back intact next year.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you not give them the opportunity to make that run? And I wouldn't want to make that run with anybody else in that but Bob.
But are you playing coy? Because you understand what's going on here.
I do. I definitely do. We've seen Ekblad do it. We've seen Marchand do it. We've seen Bennett do it. We've seen Reinhart do it. So my expectation is Bob will be in line and do the same.
Oh, re-sign. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just sharing this everywhere. So
re-sign, and some of them re-signed at the family discount.
Well, the one thing that I've been led to believe from the people that I trust is that this has not been a contentious negotiation. And I think to be honest. Jeff Rimmer said it because I was afraid to say it. He said it on my daytime television show that Bob doesn't want to leave, which people said, oh, somebody literally wrote in and said, no shit. No, that is breaking news. Don't you think?
That he doesn't want to leave?
Had these contract talks turned contentious, I'm still of the mind that I would not blame him if he said, oh, you want to cut my salary by 50%? If that is true, what they're reporting, trade me to Vegas or Montreal or Edmonton, a place that needs to go. I'll go win a cup somewhere else. I'm not saying that is what's going on. As a matter of fact, I don't think it is, but I could see it. I wouldn't have a tough time believing it.
I mean, listen, at the end of the day, this is a business and it's going to happen. We've seen it happen a million different times. I just look at Bob being in a little bit different situation than some, all right? Let's face it, he's not a young chicken.
Yeah.
He showed up huge in the playoffs for the last 2 years. He had some rough years prior to that. And, listen, he's at a point now where I really don't feel that it's going to be 100% about the money. It's going to be about the chance to win. So if the right situation came forward and he had a chance to go and win, would he move? Boy, that's a coin flip. But I think personally in my heart that Bob wants to be here. He wants to make another run at this with a healthy Florida Panther team, and that comes next October.
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny. Well, what about the news that's come out today that the Panthers announced themselves? They signed Louis Domingue, basically a career backup. I mean, he was a starter in Arizona, but only when they were bad, for the rest of the year. People are reading that as, oh, Bob's on his way out of town, so they signed Domingue.
That's a two-way guy. I mean, that's a little bit different contract. That's no threat. I think that's just, you got to have something in the pipeline, and he's in the pipeline.
I want to read this comment from Kelly. Kelly has shown up, and she says, I can't see Bob leaving either, and I understand why he could be traded, but I don't see the organization doing that, although in the end, it's still a business. And again, that's why I'm trying not to get too excited here, but he is my favorite Panther. He's my favorite goalie on the globe ever since Marc-Andre Fleury retired. I don't really want to see him go either, but I'm seeing all now the pundits, the guys that we see at these Winter Classics and stuff, and they're all just now getting onto the story. And they're like, oh, why would Bob want to leave? He doesn't. Okay, number one, I'm seeing these guys saying that. We've been talking about this for weeks.
Yep.
Never, frankly, thought we would necessarily get to this point, but you know why we did? Is because the Panthers' season hinged on last night's game in New Jersey, a 5-1 loss. And let's be honest, the only game they won, you were there last Thursday against the Leafs, and everybody's beating the Leafs. So
yeah, everybody's beating the Leafs, and unfortunately for the Panthers, they looked really good. They came out and played what I would consider the last 3 years Panther hockey, and I was excited. I was really excited, but you know what? Again, I mean, it's a game, and anything can happen, and it just shows you the key points of people being out. And listen, they still have a chip in a chair to make it. It's a long shot. They're not completely mathematically out of it yet, and let's see what happens. I just don't see Bill Zito doing a lot between now and Friday unless it's instrumental to this team coming next October.
I think it's highly admirable that they waited this long. If they are going to be sellers, whether they trade Bob or not, AJ Greer's name has come up. But they were like, not white-knuckling it, but going right to the end. They did not want to wave the white flag. And that's admirable to me because other teams have. Calgary made moves a while back. St. Louis is now making their moves. Nashville and the Panthers are like, no, we want to fight. We want to be there in the end. That's what the fans should want.
And hats off to them. I mean, listen, again, I keep saying the same thing and I keep repeating myself. This team is intact. It's just unhealthy. So it's not a Nashville. It's not a St. Louis. It's not those situations, Calgary, where they were at the basement. This is a championship caliber team that was basically the odds-on favorite to win the Stanley Cup at the beginning of the season as a healthy team.
Well, I believe the media can have some impact in how the fans react to the Bob thing or the Panthers missing the playoffs. I heard the guys on the radio saying, and like I say, multiple stations are talking Panthers. It's the most I've heard them be talked about ever since I got here. And they're saying, hey, they played the most games any team has ever played over a 3-year stretch in NHL history. They're tired. They're fatigued. You've alluded to that. Is that an excuse or a reason, however you want to say it? Like, I'll buy it. I can buy it. Can you?
I mean, you have to. I mean, it's a legitimate piece. I mean, these guys, look at the games that Sergei Bobrovsky has played in the last 3 years. He played every playoff game last year. and every playoff game the year before that.
Mm-hmm.
The first year that they made the Cup round, I think they started the playoffs with Alex Lyon in net. So again, I mean, has Bob been spectacular this year? I've seen it some nights, and some nights you don't. I mean, to be on every night. But listen, at the end of the day, this team came out and they battled. And the thing that you're going to see, and what you just said, you alluded to, is guys like AJ Greer and Evan Rodriguez, as we've heard their name all over the place in the trade deadline. That is an exact part of the minutes that these guys have been playing because of the injuries that this Panther team has had. So, listen, AJ Greer is having a career year. Evan Rodriguez is having a career year. And that's because that they filled in spots for these guys that have been injured.
It's somewhat of a rhetorical question when I ask you, or if I mention, do we buy the fatigue excuse? Because they're also the third oldest team in the NHL. And in a season where historic parity, 78% of the games have been a 1-goal game or 2 goals with an empty netter. Okay, so the closest game, if you're missing your captain, which I would suggest Alexander Barkov is their best player, wouldn't you?
Oh, by leaps and bounds.
Right, so you're missing your best player, and then Tkachuk for half a season. And Seth Jones, nobody thinks about Seth Jones because he's probably not even played.
He's a quarterback.
Yeah, well, 40 games here. He's even played.
Power play.
Huge hole there. So it's not as much about being tired per se as it is the injuries.
Listen, and nobody has mentioned the fact that these guys are playing a compressed schedule because of the Olympics. They're basically playing. I know everybody is, but I mean, for the amount of hockey that they've played, and then you come into this season and you play a compressed schedule because of the Olympics, and you have how many players? 10, 11 players in the Olympics, I think. Again, it's there's no way to hide behind it, but it's definitely a factor. No, any which way you look at it.
Yeah, it's that's enough on that. I think everybody's performed the last rites on the Panthers season.
We've sang that song.
Yeah, it's okay. I admire them that they're like, no, we will not surrender. You kind of gonna have to, guys. And coming out of the break, they had to be hotter than what they've been.
Yep.
The loss at the Islanders was a tough one to swallow too. These aren't the Panthers that we're used to, but I think you've said it very well here. They rest up, they come back there, they got everybody locked up long term. Except Bob, which, by the way, what are you signing him to in terms of years after this?
I mean, I think you give him a 2-year deal. I think that's what he's going to look for. I mean, how old is he?
37.
Yeah.
That takes him close to 40. And the other thing is, too, that Bob has to realize, and you know how much I love him.
Yep.
Dale Talon sat in this chair on this show, and he goes, we overpaid for Bob in July of 2019, right? And he goes, and I do it again. Yeah. But that was 7 years ago.
Yep.
And I'm not sure he's a $10 million a year goalie now.
And Bob has to understand that, and he knows that. So at this point, it's kind of like being a younger guy retiring and moving into an old folks home, right? I mean, you have to face it at some point that you're not going to be able to play at the level that he's played at. And listen, nobody works harder than Sergei Bobrovsky. Every teammate that I've heard speak about him says that. And I don't care who you are, what you are, eventually it catches up to you.
I want to move into an old folks home. And they won't let me. I'm too young. You know that. I'm not even lying. I've looked into it. They're like, well, you don't meet the age requirements. But I'm like, but I live like a senior.
Listen, we live in South Florida. You'd probably be more tired living in an old age home than you would.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I don't partake in those things. So, anyways, I'm always the guy that's opposite everybody else. But I'm trying to get into a 55-plus community. They won't let me in. I'm not old enough. They're like, we like you, but anyways, besides all that, we've spent 13 minutes on Bob and the Panthers missing the playoffs and all the rest. We all agree they will be back. So take a chill pill, everybody. And I guess the Lightning are a great time to talk about this. I said that I'll be making some trips over to the West Coast. You want to come for playoff hockey?
We're in. I mean, listen, for me, it's a testament to Bill Zito for keeping this core together and not making rash moves and big deals. I think giving this team an opportunity to come back next year and defend what they started and as a healthy team, I think you got to give that team that chance. So
as far as the Lightning go, I did the numbers on the weekend. You saw we're obviously looking in different places, but on Sunday, NHLForecast.com said the Panthers had a 4.4% chance of making the playoffs. The Lightning had a 99.2% chance, and it just tells you a little bit of a difference in the fan bases. We've talked about it on this show. The Lightning fans are not panicking despite the fact they went into Minnesota, got bombed 5-1 last night. The guys from the We the Thunder podcast, great guys. They're like, Coop, have you thought of unplugging it and plugging it back in? They're not panicking that the Lightning have not had a great... They got bombed by Buffalo on Saturday.
Listen, you're coming out of it sluggish, and it happens. I mean, guys they're not as focused as they should be. They're on vacation in Cabo, or they're at the Olympics. And listen, Tampa is one heck of a hockey team. No worries at all there.
Well, Julian Brisebois, from what we understand, is looking to be a buyer. Has lost out on some players. This is, again, what the insiders are saying. I'm so wary of what I what I believe and read, but if you're seeing it from Elliot Friedman and Darren Dreger, I tend to believe that. Pierre LeBrun as well. One of these accounts said Steven Stamkos' list of players he would like to go to with Nashville is he would go back to Tampa Bay, if this is to be believed, Minnesota, and I can't remember the third, but he's going somewhere.
You think? He wasn't even on the list of maybes.
Whose list?
Yeah.
That's the question.
What does Tampa need in your eyes?
Nothing.
Exactly. So why are you a buyer?
Great point. I'm glad you brought that up. But it's usually the team that does something for a couple of reasons. Look at the Panthers.
But does that mess up the whole...
Didn't hear.
Well, it's worked because we had some holes. I look at Tampa, I don't see any holes.
No, but it does give you a shot to the arm. And it sort of inspires your dressing room when your GM's out making moves. I think their defense could probably upgrade
or
it.
It can kill your dressing room. I mean, how do you take a team that is just rolling? Yeah, they have 2 speed bumps with Buffalo and Minnesota. Minnesota's a good hockey team. They're right in the mix of it. They've made some moves themselves. They're kind of like the giant killer in the West right now. They're kind of, bringing in Hughes and Creel getting that big deal. I mean, they've been playing some good hockey. So, I mean, Tampa Bay has just been, from start to finish, where we're at right now has been incredible. I mean, anything short of it.
All I'm saying is their GM is reportedly trying to add.
I'm just trying to think of what they would add and what they'd be willing to give up to add it. I mean, if you could get a Stamkos guy for a draft pick or 2, do you do that for, I mean, that guy walks into that locker room and he's God tomorrow, right? There's no issues there, period. But where do you put him?
Well, I guess we'll find out. They've, again, lost out on some players that they've tried to get. The NHL trade deadline is Friday at 3 p.m. I want to ask you this. So the Lightning are rolling. They're back atop the division, depending on the day. That Stadium Series game we'll remember for the rest of our lives. Biggest comeback in Lightning franchise history from being 4 goals down and winning. Right. All I'm saying is they're the OG. No worries about the Lightning. But here... how do you think this Miami and South Florida fan base will take to the Panthers missing the playoffs?
I think it'll be sold exactly what we've been talking. I mean, everybody kind of knows this team and has got on this wagon the last 3 years and known it to be a championship caliber team, and this team is not going to change very much. It could change into goaltending, but other than that, outside of that, your top 6 are locked down. Your defense is locked down. You're going to have some openings there, but... I fully expect this to be a blip. I fully expect this team to come back and compete at a top level next year.
Well, these sports fans here far better than me. You've lived here for decades.
They've become accustomed to the Miami Dolphins losing, so the Florida Panthers are a bright spot.
But the Dolphins are in another class. They fill the stadium win or lose, mostly lose.
Yeah, because they all go to see the opposite team that's here.
Right, but they don't go to the Marlins. If the Heat suck, they're off that bandwagon. You know what I'm saying?
No, you're right. I mean, you're going to see empty seats in it, no doubt.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that just goes with the territory of losing. Any team you have. I mean, if they lose, you're going to lose some fan base, but if they come back next year and they go on a 10-game winning streak, I was looking today, I saw something online about franchise wins in a row. And I think it was Tampa and Columbus, actually. Edmonton and Columbus. It was like 15, and the Panthers were second with 13 games in a row wins. So if they come back next year, they come out strong out of the gate, you bring that customer, that customer back into that seat, and you're going to create more fans out of it. But this run that they've gone on, man, I mean, they've created so much buzz. They've brought so many new fans into that building. You can't see him jumping ship that quick.
I certainly hope not. I guess we're going to see. What I will tell you is we're going to always be here.
Not going anywhere.
Yeah. We'll always be talking.
I have officially renewed.
Yeah, well, we'll be talking Panthers hockey, Lightning hockey, Florida NHL hockey forever if I can help it. I just, what I do know after working in the sports business for so long, people call us homers when you're a broadcaster for the team. Of course we want them to win. When the home team wins, the stadium's full, the ratings are up. Randy Moeller would tell you the same thing. I'm sure Jameson Olive at FloridaPanthers.com would tell you the same thing. Hits are up when business is good, when you're winning. And when you're losing, it's down. So that's why we want them to win. And that's why we also call the show the Cats and Bolts podcast, in the event that if either one of them faltered, we would, cover the one on the long run. Hopefully they have it. But as far as NHL favorites go, it's changing every day. But I looked up... I want to say is maybe ESPN Bet. There's so many betting companies. But the top 5 teams right now, betting favorites, Stanley Cup futures odds, in no particular order, but are Colorado, Tampa Bay, Carolina, Vegas, and Edmonton. That would hurt a little bit to see Edmonton in the Stanley Cup final with the Panthers not in the playoffs. But
I wouldn't count them out. I mean, with that group up there, obviously they've had a taste of it the last 2 years, and when you get that taste, the only thing you want more of is that. So, and they didn't win it, and this could be it.
Who legitimately could you see in the Stanley Cup final? Have you thought about it?
Oh, absolutely. I'm going with Tampa and Vegas. Still there.
That would be sexy.
Going from day one to the final, the conference final. The one team that I really kind of think is a slippery in is again Carolina.
Yeah.
Every year you don't hear anything about them all season long. And here we are now, we're like Cup favorites, and they're going, okay, what, two or three straight conference finals for them? Could this be their year? Could Rob Brindamore get the monkey off his back? I don't know.
Yeah, well, until they haven't made it to the Stanley Cup final, right? Like they lost last night. I think it was at Seattle that ended a streak of 12 games with a point at least. No, they're a wagon all the time.
Yeah,
but they seem to choke in the.
Well, that's just it. They can't win. They can't get past the conference championship. So, and listen, I think Tampa Bay. If Tampa Bay gets bigger and stronger at the trade deadline, which I think they could do, man, they're going to be a very tough handle in the playoffs.
What else you got for the live viewers out there? Fire them our way on the YouTube stream as we roll. You've already gone on record as saying Bob's not going anywhere. As we sit here on this Wednesday, I'm starting to think that he is. Can you just play along with me for a second and imagine if he went to Vegas and he leads the Golden Knights up against Tampa in the Stanley Cup final?
I'm guessing that Tampa Bay would not want to see him. I mean, for what he did to them the last 2 years in the playoffs, and he just played absolutely spectacular. Listen, viable option. 2 teams in the West, I think, is a viable option is Edmonton and Vegas, if it was to happen. So let's see. Friday's 2 days away.
Well, this is the time of year where the things that Brent gets far more into than I do actually come into play. Like you're always talking about salaries and LTIR, and to me it's but it's a factor now.
Yeah. I mean,
right?
It has to be, right? I mean, who's got the money to sign him? $10 million is a big one, and unless the Panthers retain some of it, which I'm guessing will be part of the deal if it happens.
What if they retain all of it? What do they got to lose?
Yeah. I mean, again, same thing. I mean, they're obviously not going to make the playoffs if they're going to make that move, and it's a long shot now, so it's definitely a viable option. And listen, do you want to give a guy, Bob, a chance to go? I'm guessing he's got a full move clause, right?
There's 16 teams he won't go to.
So he's named.
But we don't know. They're not been made public that I've seen.
Right. So, I mean, listen, here we are. It's a business. It's a viable option that's on the table. Would I never say never? I've seen crazier things happen.
This is where the business comes into it, and it can be real ugly, and I don't like it. That's why I don't like to talk about it, but that's your world every day.
Every day.
Right? Yeah, well, and the other thing, too, I follow the fans until it gets goofy, because the odd one makes really intelligent, insightful comments far more so than the media do. And somebody said, hey, let's have the Panthers miss the playoffs. Let's full out tank. And you know where they're going with that.
I thought I saw, what are they? They would end up with like somewhere in the neighborhood of a top 12 pick in the draft.
Well, maybe if they went even lower than that and won the lottery. That was where this fan was going on Twitter going, oh my God, We could win the lottery and get Gavin McKenna, the next one.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Can you imagine?
I haven't even looked at the draft class coming up, so I couldn't even tell you. It wasn't even on my radar with the Panthers, because we haven't had a top round
You don't
pick
even
for
think
so
about it.
long.
Yeah.
And so it's never even been a point. But listen, I mean, it's a business. It happens. This Panther team run into some adversity with it. I mean, they've been extremely injured all year long. If that wasn't the case, I think we'd be having a completely different conversation. So look, I mean, are they going to tank it to get a draft pick? I don't feel professional athletes do that. I think they want to go out every night and win and compete. So I think you'll see this team go down the line and continue to do that. And you're taking some of that liability with Barkov coming back, maybe not necessarily, a little too early with the chances of being re-injured. In
Why
the
would you
playoffs.
even bring him back at all?
Well, that's what I mean. So he's going to be 100% come training camp, in the fall. And then let's see what happens. But again, you got them all coming back. So I truly hope to see Bob back here. On the flip side of it, am I a Tanoff fan? I mean, listen, the guy showed greatness, but he's had some rough outings as well. So
A who fan? Tarasov. Yeah.
He's not the guy.
I think they thought that he might be the guy.
He's not the guy. He's not the guy.
Well, and that's the other thing. I think we're all sitting here going, Bob is the future for like the next couple of years.
At least.
Yeah.
That's why I say 2-year deal at a discount. His family doesn't have to move. His kids are here. He rides off into the sunset. He's won 2 championships here. He's loved. I mean, God forsake, they chant his name every night.
Well, it's so special, but it's like you're watching a train wreck happen because we've seen this a million times where that franchise legend leaves. You don't want him to leave, and they don't come back after all the great memories. I don't want that to happen here.
I'm trying to think
But
the
it might.
last time this situation happened with a goalie.
I would have to, Roy, do we get him 96?
Yeah, 96 would probably be it, right? When he went from Montreal to... But that was a little
Completely different situation.
I mean, he was sitting on the bench and basically said, I'm out.
Yeah,
Trade
because
me
he
or
was
else.
left in a game, but that's the thing here is they respect people. I also want to make this clear too. The game last night in New Jersey, Paul Maurice was interviewed in the. Did you watch the game?
I heard bits and pieces of it about him maybe having to move the puck up the ice.
Yeah, he's like, Bob, get up ice, because he goes, he's the only guy basically moving the puck and playing well. And then after the game, the very first thing out of Paul Maurice's mouth to the media was how great Bob had played, and I'm like, okay, right there is why Paul Maurice is the man that he is and had the success that he is, because it's a military concept of no man's left behind.
Yep.
Right? He was not going to throw Bob under the bus. It shows you how loved the guy is here. And, furthermore, I'm enjoying the commentary from the media out there because it's like, I don't know what it was like before I got here. I tell you that once a week. They don't have any idea what's going on here. I'm watching supposed pundits. They're like, Bill Zito's never been afraid to make the tough trade. Right? What's tough trade? We've debated the Giroux and Tippett one, which didn't work out, but that's, to me, not Zito's fault.
That didn't hurt this team. I mean,
Tippett's pretty good.
Tippett is great now,
Yeah.
but I mean, listen, I mean, we've gotten better as a hockey team. I mean, Claude Giroux was a rental. He came in, and listen, the following year we brought in Tarasenko. That worked. Then we brought in Marchand, and he re-signed. So here we are.
Right. Well, I'm just saying that the Giroux
Yeah.
Tippett trade probably was a tough trade because you don't want to give up a guy like Tippett, but nobody was hurt.
And the
Hurt by that.
One thing I really respect about this Panthers organization is, listen, you said it. They have a tremendous amount of respect for Bob.
Yes.
Bob has a tremendous amount of respect for them. And again, that's why I think, two heads sit down and we prevail, and he comes back keeping this core group together for a couple more years and ride off into the sunset.
Well, but to finish the thought, the only tough trade that I can see Zito's made, like they're all not easy, but the real contentious one might have been Huberdeau for Tkachuk. But people got over that in a day.
Listen, that I mean, again, hats off to him, because that trade is what changed the face of this franchise and moved it forward. Trading a Bob does not move this franchise forward. I think trading Bob, if I'm looking at it from a championship standpoint, I think Bob has a better chance to win a championship here in the next 2 years than he would be going to a Montreal or even a Vegas. I mean, I haven't really looked at Vegas's long-term stuff and what their core is together. But if you look at this team, it's gonna be extremely competitive for at least the next 2 to 3 years and have a true opportunity to win championships.
Or more. I'm thinking longer than that.
But they're old. I mean, listen, things change and people get moved on, and people go into slumps. But I'm telling you that to see it, and he's a staple here. I'm betting the farm and saying he's here Saturday.
Woo! Do you want to make a bet? You want to?
Let's do it.
A what? A Yard House pizza?
Yeah, done.
That was easy. It's got to be during happy hour.
Absolutely.
Okay, just on the Huberdeau-Tkachuk trade, I feel like the only one upset about that was Huberdeau.
Exactly.
Right? But no, there were two. Kelly and her daughter Charlie, because Kelly is written in and she goes, wait, that trade was Huberdeau and Weegar. She didn't like that Weegar left. Nobody liked that Weegar left. But look what you got back. That's this whole thing with Spencer Knight and the Seth Jones. Everybody's like, oh, Spencer Knight's going great in Chicago. How did they miss that? They knew that Spencer Knight was great. They had to give up something to get him. They knew that Mackenzie Weegar was a great player, but they knew what they were getting in Matthew Tkachuk. The best trades are the ones that benefit both sides. You're not going to rip anybody off in the National Hockey League.
That's not going to happen. It's got to be a piece that each team needs, and it goes both ways.
Yeah, as we get ready to wrap it up, we have the highest viewership that we've had. So I'll go on for a few more minutes if there are any live questions. But what we've covered here today is Sergei Bobrovsky. Brent thinks that he's going to be here past the trade deadline. Frankly, I do not. How do we feel about the Panthers missing the playoffs and figuratively waving the white flag on the season, which they didn't want to do? That's an unfair comment for me to say because they're not giving up on anything. But they had to win coming out of the gate after the Olympics, and they haven't done that. The Lightning are the Eastern Conference favorites to go to the Stanley Cup, so I'm envisioning a lot of trips to the West Coast. For the people watching in Canada, they don't know, why would you go to California? That's not what I'm saying. That's a Florida terminology.
That's a 5-hour flight. This is a 90-mile drive.
With a stop at Blackburn's Barbecue.
Absolutely.
Steven Stamkos, where does he go? How's the Miami fan base going to react to the Panthers missing the playoffs? If they do, will the Panthers be back? Stanley Cup favorites, Gavin McKenna. I think that's got it all, brother.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Friday at 3 o'clock. I mean, it's kind of weird. I look at the trade deadline every year, and it's like we've seen some deals happen. Have you seen anything that's wowed you so far?
In these trades, Quinn Hughes.
That was the big one, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, but what beyond that, what is there?
Oh, not much.
Exactly. So it's kind of like we sit here and wait. And I'm thinking that this Bob story is the biggest story out there, and that's why it's getting so much attention because of the caliber player that he's been in the last 3 years for this team. And outside of that, there's really not a lot to talk about. Stamkos, maybe a little bit. The reunion with the Tampa Bay Lightning sounds warm and fuzzy, but he gone.
Well, in what has been an unbelievably entertaining NHL season, we're just getting to the best parts.
Yep.
The trade deadline, the playoff push, and then the playoffs themselves, whether the Panthers are in it or not, it's been a thrill a minute.
Who's your surprise team going into the playoffs this year?
There are several. Buffalo.
Yeah.
Oh, don't. You bring that up now? I could talk about this for an hour. You weren't at the game here on Friday. You weren't. I don't know where you were.
With Buffalo, no.
Oh, I'm sitting there going, oh my God, when Tage Thompson actually wants to try,
yeah, he's a beast.
He might be the best player in the National Hockey League.
He is a real deal player, that kid.
Sabres are a new team in the playoffs. Detroit's a new team in the playoffs. Seattle looks, I think, is going to make it. They'd be a new team in the playoffs. Utah is lining up against Vegas, which is a rivalry that their owner, the Golden Knights owner, Bill Foley's long wanted, a Southwestern U.S. rivalry.
Who's your sleeper? Who's your team that's going to get in and do some damage?
Oh, nobody's going to go all the way.
I don't think all the way, but who's the Florida Panthers of 3 years ago?
I don't watch Seattle enough. I want to say Detroit, because you got some older guys there in Kane and Tarasenko, and Gibson in goal as a veteran guy.
Tarasenko's in Minnesota?
He's in Detroit.
Is he in Detroit still?
I believe he's there.
I thought
Let me go to the big board.
I thought he was in Minnesota.
No. And Mini would be the team. Frankly, they're adding up.
Yeah.
Or loading up.
I'm
most boring team ever.
One team that I'm curious to see what they do again is if they get some goaltending would be Montreal.
Ooh, is the world ready for Montreal to go on a run again? The one thing, I'll be cheering for Vegas, obviously, because I got so many friends there. But the only you ask what obviously they're tight, they're locked down, they got everything in it, but the crease has been a carousel all year because of injuries and the Carter Hart thing. Aiden Hill's been hurt. So Bob would solve all their problems.
As a goalie guy,
which I am.
Tell me what your take is on the goalie interference non-call.
Oh, he is with Minnesota. I didn't realize he signed in Minnesota. Oh, on the Tarasov thing the other night?
Yeah.
Listen, if a guy comes in and brushes you like that before the puck even comes and the shot's even taken.
Dropped his glove and it went right over it.
Well, it did not impede his ability to stop the puck.
I agree. I was like a 50.
Well,
when I saw it was a 50-50 for me. I wasn't surprised when they said it was a good goal.
I know. I'm like, come on, guys. That's not why you lost the
But
game.
boy, there was some, I think when the media, he said, what were those guys smoking? And when they asked Paul Maurice, and in perfect Paul Maurice style, Paul Maurice was like, just quote what he said.
I'm a little surprised there wasn't a fine there. Maybe there was that I don't know about.
It, yeah.
But, okay. Thank you, Brent.
Thank you.
Enjoy the soccer tonight.
Absolutely.
And I'll have a pepperoni pizza at the Yard House.
I'm coming.
No, I don't know. I don't want Bob to be traded. It's just, it feels like things are going that way, and the way things are changing a mile a minute and so fast. It's been fun to watch. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Eric, Johan, Ben, the whole crew. They're still awake. We'll see you next week here on Florida's most watched hockey podcast, Cats and Bolts.
Ooh.
Oh.